welcome to Asian at Home. And today I'm going to show you how to make egg fried rice. And this is the most easiest and simplest fried rice. I bet you have these ingredients in your refrigerator and pantry, so no excuse of my Asian grocery store too far from my house kind of thing, okay? So let's get started. So first thing is I'm going to go ahead and crack 4 eggs. This is the 4 portions of a fried rice, so that's why I'm using 4 eggs. But if you like extra egg in your egg fried rice, you can add a little more, okay? And season the egg, a little pinch of salt. And then, this is the thing. You have to whisk the egg with chopstick when you're making egg fried rice. It definitely changes the flavor. They're looking good. I'm gonna set aside right here. And let's chop 4 green onions. Where's my knife? There you go. Green onion will give really nice flavor and also give a beautiful green color to the fried rice. I love. You can cut them like a little slightly diagonal angle so it will look beautiful in fried rice. The preps are done. The eggs are beaten. The green onions are chopped. The main ingredients, the rice, they need to be cold rice. So if you have already take out rice from your Chinese restaurant or something like that, it'll be great. Or cold rice already sitting in your refrigerator, it's gonna work. I cooked this yesterday. I lied. I cooked it this morning. Actually, I lied again. I didn't cook it. Jacob did it. So my rice is here, and all we have to do is just heat up the wok over high heat and start the cooking. And add 1 tablespoon of oil. I'm using avocado, but you can use peanut oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, or sunflower oil, grapeseed oil. We're gonna add a little more oil later after we add the rice. Pour the egg. We're gonna scramble the egg first. When the egg is about 3/4 way cooked, this is the time we're gonna add 2 more tablespoons of cooking oil, generous amount, and then add the rice. And now this is the time for your decision. You can season this with only salt or only soy sauce or mixture, which is what I'm gonna do, or season with ketchup. That's what my assistant Hanier like to do, my nephew. Or you can season with sriracha if you like spicy. So be creative with this egg fried rice, okay? Okay, now I'm gonna add a little pinch of salt, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Make sure when you're adding soy sauce, go around the wok. The soy sauce will little burn, and that's where the flavor coming from. The fiery, delicious wok flavor. And add some black pepper if you like to, but I'm gonna skip it because I want it to be as simple, eggy fried rice as it can be. This is pretty much it, guys. Turn off the heat, add the green onion, bam, bam, and toss, and we are done. You tell me you don't have these ingredients in your house. And yes, you can definitely make this with cauliflower rice. All right, guys.
We're going to show you, step by step, how to set up a desktop computer. First, unpack everything from the box and remove any plastic covering or protective tape. Think about where you want your workspace to go and how you want to arrange the different components before you start plugging things in. Next, let's connect the monitor. If you have an all-in-one computer where everything is built in, for example, an iMac, you can skip this step. Otherwise, locate your monitor cable. Newer monitors often use HDMI or USB-C connections, while older monitors may use VGA, DVI, or another type of connection. It just depends. Now find the monitor port on the back of your computer case and plug the cable in. Most cables are designed to fit a certain way, so if it's not working, don't force it. When you're done, connect the other end to your monitor. Now it's time to plug in your keyboard and mouse. If they're wired, they most likely have a USB connector, so you can use any of the ports you see here. You could also plug your mouse into the USB port on your keyboard if it has one. If you have a wireless mouse or keyboard, it's going to work a little differently. Some wireless devices connect using technology that's built into your computer, while others need an adapter. You'll also need to pair the device with your computer before you can use it. You may want to read the instructions that came with your wireless device to learn more about pairing. At this point, you can plug in your speakers or headphones. If it uses a typical audio plug, look for the green audio port on the front or back of your computer case. However, some speakers, headphones, and microphones use USB connectors. Finally, it's time to connect the power supply cables and plug the computer in. You should have two cables. One goes with your monitor, and the other plugs into the back of your computer case. Now plug both cables into a power outlet. We recommend using a surge protector to keep your equipment safe in the event of a power surge. When you're ready, plug the surge protector into a regular outlet. If it has a power switch, you may need to switch it on. That's all there is to it. Now take a minute to make sure you're happy with your workspace. Then, turn your computer on.
The people of Mexica had come from a faraway place in the north. Their god, Huitzilopochtli, was a god of war. But through all their travels and struggles, they had not yet found a home. But Huitzilopochtli, god of bloody victory, promised them a city. In a booming voice spoke from heaven, he said, "I will lead you. When you come to a place I deem fit, I will alight as a white eagle. This place you will settle, and build a great city to honor me. Then you will become conquerors and wander no longer." So the Mexica traveled with Malina Xochitl, Huitzilopochtli's sister, who led them in person. She was a sorcerer, vicious and cruel. At night, she would steal men away and place them in front of poisonous spiders, and use scorpions and insects to inflict all manner of torments on the Mexica people. Finally, they had had enough, and prayed to Huitzilopochtli, who proclaimed, "My people are to rule with weapons, not witchcraft." And he instructed them to abandon her in the night. When she awoke all alone, she was furious. The people would abandon her, sister of Huitzilopochtli, her, sorceress supreme. This would not stand. But she was patient, and her vengeance was long. She settled in a nearby village and gave birth to a son, who she taught magic and told him of his uncle's betrayal. He swore revenge and tracked the Mexica down to their camp on a hill called Capultepec, near the Great Lake of Texcoco. And he visited all the nearby nations and rallied them to his cause. His armies in place, they advanced on the Mexica, while he climbed a nearby hill to survey the field. But Huitzilopochtli knew all, and he sent some of his priests to covertly climb the hill for an ambush. As the sorcerer looked down on his forces closing in on the outnumbered Mexica, the priests crept up behind and seized him. He fought with spells and a warrior's strength, but they were too many. He was laid low, and one priest cut open his chest, pried out his heart, and presented it to Huitzilopochtli, who ordered them to throw it as far as possible into the lake. So the priest wound up, and with all the strength he could muster, flung it towards the far body of water, and watched it fall in the midst of a marshy island. Still, the Mexica people were overwhelmed and fled, and eventually they reached a city south of the lake called Colhuacan, and after some time, they were settling and intermarrying with the people there. Huitzilopochtli, however, was not pleased with this friendship, because after all, he was a god of war, not of amicable relations. So he said to his priests, "You must leave this place and show the world your bows and arrows, your swords and shields. Ask the king for his daughter's hand in marriage. She will become the woman of discord and cause for war." The priests did so, and the king was delighted for his princess to become a queen. But that night, Huitzilopochtli spoke to his priests again, saying, "I demand you sacrifice her in my honor. Flay her and dress a boy in her skin, wearing her clothes." And so, the wedding procession traveled up the steps of a pyramid. But before reaching the summit, the priests led the princess away to a sacrificial slab. And there, a priest cut open her chest and removed her still-beating heart, holding it up for Huitzilopochtli to see. They then flayed her skin and chose a boy to wear it, just as their god had commanded. When the king arrived, they took him into a darkened room where he prepared to make offerings of flowers and quail. There, the boy danced, and the king thought it was his daughter. But when he lit some incense, the flame shot upward, and in the light, he saw what had been done. He fled the room shouting, "The Meshika have murdered my daughter and flayed her skin! Take up arms and kill them! Erase their names!"
Chapter 1. A Visitor. My name's Samuel, Lenny Samuel. You can call me Len. I'm a private eye. A private eye is a private detective. A detective who will work for anyone who will pay him. I'm not a policeman. I work on my own as a private eye. My office is on the west side of Los Angeles, on the 4th floor of a high building. There are only 2 rooms in my office, the outer room and the inner room. The outer room is the waiting room. There are 4 chairs in the waiting room, although there are never 4 people waiting to see me. In fact, there is usually no one at all waiting to see me. In the inner room, there's a cheap wooden desk. There's a big wooden chair for me to sit on, and on the opposite side of the desk, there's a low metal chair for my visitors. The rest of the furniture in my office consists of a large, empty metal cupboard and a low bed in one corner. When there is a lot of work, I sometimes sleep in the office. The notice outside my door says, L. Samuel, Private Detective. That's me. I'm quite tall, nearly 2 meters, and I weigh 80 kilos. A lot of men say that I'm ugly, but women seem to find me attractive. I've got brown eyes, brown hair, and very nice teeth. I had a good nose, too, until someone broke it in a fight last year. Recently, I haven't been very busy. In fact, I've had very little to do. However, I did have some work last month. It all started late one afternoon when I was sitting in my office. I had just finished cutting my nails and I was about to clean them. Suddenly, I heard someone walk into the outer room. I always leave the door of the outer room open in case anyone wants to come in and see me. When I heard the footsteps in the outer room, I wasn't very surprised. I thought that someone had made a mistake and come into the wrong office. It was probably someone looking for the doctor next door. But a moment later, there was a very quiet knock on the door of the inner room. "Come in," I shouted, and put away the scissors I had been cutting my nails with. The door opened, and in walked one of the most beautiful women I had ever seen. She was about 18 years old, with blue eyes and long blonde hair. She was wearing a smart green coat and had a big brown handbag over her shoulder.
"Excuse me," said the girl. "I'm looking for Mr. Samuel."
"I'm Samuel," I said with a quick smile. "Come in and sit down." The girl didn't smile back at me.
"No, I won't sit down," she said.
"Well, if you won't sit down, at least come in and close the door," I replied. The girl came in, walked over, and put her handbag on my desk. "Now," I said, "what can I do for you?"
"I need help," said the girl slowly, "but I don't know if you will be able to help me. Are you a real private detective?"
"Of course I am," I replied angrily. "Didn't you see the notice on the office door? It says L. Samuel, Private Detective. I'm Samuel. I'm a private eye."
"All right, Mr. Samuel," the girl said coldly. "There's no need to get angry. I have a little job for you."
"Right," I said quickly. "What do you want me to do?"
"It's very simple, really," the girl replied. "I want you to find my sister. She has disappeared."
Chapter 2. Please find my sister. I see, I said. Your sister has disappeared. Have you reported her disappearance to the police? The blonde girl shook her head. She looked very nervous and was starting to cry.
No, I haven't told the police,
she said.
I don't want any trouble with the police. I just want you to help find my sister.
She took a small pink handkerchief out of her handbag and dried her eyes. All right, I said. Tell me all about your sister.
Her name is Elaine Garfield,
said the girl. And what's your name? I interrupted.
Helen Garfield, she replied. My sister disappeared a week ago. We had arranged to have dinner together last Monday night, but she didn't come.
Perhaps your sister didn't come because she doesn't like the food you cook, I suggested.
Don't try to be funny. I flew all the way from New York to see her last Monday, she said angrily. Oh, so you don't live in Los Angeles then, I said. No, she replied quickly. I live in New York. I flew right across America to see my sister, but when I got here, I discovered that she had disappeared.
How do you know she has disappeared? I asked. Perhaps your sister just forgot about the dinner. The blonde girl took a deep breath.
Look, she said, let me finish my story. If you don't stop asking questions, I'll find myself another detective.
Right, I said. I'm listening.
I waited for my sister last Monday evening in my hotel, said the girl, but she didn't come. I telephoned her, but there was no answer, so the next morning I went to the office where she worked. At her office, they said that she had been to work the day before, on the Monday. They also told me that she'd left suddenly, in the middle of the afternoon, without telling anyone. After that, I went round to her flat, but there was no one there.
The girl stopped for a minute, and then continued.
Mr. Samuel, she said, I'm very worried about my sister. It's not usual for her to disappear suddenly like this. I'm sure that she's in danger, and I want you to find her.
All right, I said. It may be easy or it may be difficult, but I'll find her. But first, tell me why you've waited 3 days before coming to me.
That's none of your business,
the girl said. Okay, I replied. Your sister's name is Elaine Garfield. What does she look like?
Oh, that's easy,
Helen Garfield replied.
She looks like me. We're twins. Now, Mr. Samuel, how much money do you charge?
$50 a day, I said.
Very well, Mr. Samuel, said the girl, but $50 a day is a lot of money. I hope that you will work hard for it.
Oh, yes, I replied with a smile. I'll work very hard. Now give me the address of your sister's flat and the name of the office where she works. I'll start work at once. The blonde girl wrote the addresses on a piece of paper and gave me the paper. One more thing, I said. Can you give me your address, too?
That won't be necessary, she replied as she picked up her handbag. I'll come and see you again tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock. Goodbye, Mr. Samuel.
Without waiting for an answer, the girl turned around and walked out of the office. As I watched her walk out of my office, I smiled to myself. This is better than cleaning my nails, I thought. Then I began my work.